All right, what's going on, you guys? LocalJohn1812,
Jrod84,
and we are live on location here at the Washington Square Mall in our home city and state here in Evansville, Indiana, and we're ready to talk some sports for you. We're coming to you live today on a audio recording like we used to do on SoundCloud. Then we went to video on YouTube, and we're going to try this audio recording back and add in some still pictures for you on YouTube. So we hope you like it. Still the same two people, though.
Yeah, so I said something different. I just say, this has been a little while since we've been back, so.
We were talking, what about 4 weeks?
Yeah, I just say I think
longer than that.
It's been about 4 months.
4 months.
4 months since we've actually done a video, so.
Yeah. So this will be our video/audio video. This is our new format style.
Video
we'll do
podcast.
Yeah.
We'll work on.
So we'll add pictures in there to count it as a video, and we'll keep our voice on here to have it as just a regular podcast. So it's a combination. So
yeah.
All right. So let's get some stuff we usually don't talk about out of the way at first. If you're not paying attention to NASCAR, they're basically on their last race.
Yeah. I think
pretty
so.
much. Kyle Busch won the pole, and he'll face himself, Kevin Harvick. He won't face himself, but he'll be in it. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, and Joey Logano. For whoever wins that race or finishes the best place out of those 4 people, wins the Monster Energy Cup. I think that's what they're going with now.
Yeah, I believe so.
The NASCAR ratings kind of went down due to the fact they've lost a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, let's say most of the big names of the NASCAR world, Jeff Gordon's, Dale Earnhardt's. I said they're not there anymore. I said,
right.
Probably like the die-hard NASCAR fans. Yeah, they'll still pay attention to it. Probably like for average, sports watchers, they probably don't pay as much attention to it as they once did. Yeah,
they really need someone like Jeff Gordon to stick around and stay there, and he's not, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was, most popular driver, and obviously he retired too. So they're just getting a retirement spell. Maybe Kyle Busch and Joey Logano can start to, and Kyle Busch is building his own legacy. We know he's won before, but maybe Joey, Chase Elliott, who took over for Jeff, maybe they can start building their legacies even more and maybe get some of that ratings back. Wait and see.
Yeah, I say maybe so. I just think, I know we missed pretty much like the second half of the baseball season, but the Red Sox ended up winning the World Series title.
Yeah, that was good for them, and they stayed healthy when they needed to stay healthy to win a championship, which is important.
Yeah,
and so
they did. They had the best record at the end of the regular season. They ended up, keeping the hot streak going during the playoffs. End up winning the World Series title, their 9th all time.
Right.
Yes, congrats to the Red Sox.
I just recently, the last few days, looking on the ESPN and other websites, internet, it looks like Les Miles might get himself back into coaching, taking a job with Kansas, possibly.
Yes. We're jumping a little bit of college football. I said, yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Well, I said, that might... Well, I think that would probably be that might be a good fit for him. I mean, because Kansas has kind of been like one of those teams that's somewhat been, non-existent in the college football world. They've only won 9 games total over 5 years, which they won 3 this year.
Right. So the expectations would be kind of still low there, and you could do a okay job and still hang around for a while.
Honestly, yes, you could. Honestly, Les Miles, he did coach LSU to the national title back in 2007.
Right.
So maybe they'll give some hope for the for the Jayhawk football faithful.
That's true. If he took the Kansas job, how fast of a turnaround is there? I don't know.
I don't know. It may take a little while.
What do you think? At least 2 recruiting classes, probably.
2, maybe 3. I say, first off, you probably have to start winning, consistently in order to get the big names, to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, with Kansas being in the Big 12, that's kind of hard to do because most of the big recruits are either going to flock to either Oklahoma or Texas or whichever.
Right. So that interesting to see what happens. I know they said he was near a contract agreement, so we'll see if that pans out. As of today, right now, it just said near.
Yes. I have to say, well, since we're on the subject of college football, you got about 2 more weeks left in the regular season, and and see who's going to be in the playoff, and see which the final standings for the playoff will be released on the 2nd of December. That determines who will be in the playoff.
Right.
But there's still a lot of football to be played in between now and then. Of course, the top 4 in order: Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan. Of course, at last, I said Alabama, of course, number 1. No problems. I said they were tied at the half with the Citadel today, but they ended up winning 50-17. Clemson plays later tonight versus Duke, number 2. Notre Dame right now, number 3, unbeaten. They're taking on Syracuse right now.
I think they'll win that game.
I think so. At last check, it was 13-0 Notre Dame in the second quarter. Michigan, number 4, which I think they've kicked off a little short while ago, facing Indiana.
That should be interesting. Indiana's played. They won last week. Indiana won a big game last week, didn't they? I forgot who they played.
Oh, wait, they played Maryland.
Yeah. It was a big win for them, really, because they got them to 5 wins, and they were, they're 5-5. I think Indiana could win. Oh, they got to win one more. They're bowl eligible at 6. So
yeah. Okay, and I said the rest of the top 10, the 2 teams looking outside the playoff right now. Georgia, number 5, they take on UMass. Georgia's already in the SEC championship game. Oklahoma, I believe, is number 6. They play Kansas later this evening. Oklahoma still has a shot to get in. LSU, ranked number 7, they take on Rice tonight. Washington State, number 8, they face Arizona later tonight. West Virginia, number 9, they're at Oklahoma State. They're playing right now. I think it's on ESPN. And Ohio State, number 10, which, of course, they won a wild one today at Maryland. So the Big
interesting.
So it'd be very interesting. I said the Big Ten East. I said the Big Ten Eastern Division title, along with possibly getting into the playoff. That's probably going to be decided next week. Michigan, Ohio State. I just say the Wolverines. They have to win today, but
yeah. As long as they do, we know what it's setting up for if everybody takes care of what they need to take care of for. And so far, Ohio State has done that, so we're just waiting to see if Michigan does that as well.
I just see right. Both teams, they got to win.
Yeah.
One of them has to win next week, and they got to win the Big Ten championship game. So, and then whoever wins that, they'll move on to the college football playoff.
So that's kind of your rundown about your basic, some college football, some NASCAR.
Yep. Well, I just probably sneaking under the radar. The kickoff of the college basketball season began about a week and a half ago.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So far, there's been. So far, it's been a few surprises.
Yeah, Villanova got beat by Michigan.
Yeah.
Villanova got beat by Michigan. 8 lost to 18, was it, or 14, something like that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Villanova's number 8, Michigan's number 18, which Michigan won by 27.
So that's an embarrassing loss, I guess, because...
Well, I'd say, probably not so much embarrassing.
Was it at Villanova, or was it a neutral court game?
No, Villanova wasn't home.
Oh, so that's even worse. I mean, it's one thing if you're on the road or if it's a neutral court game.
Well,
come on.
Probably not embarrassing. I say to be surprising. I mean, I know Villanova lost a lot of, people from last year's national title team, but
of course, we can't speak too much as Kentucky fans. Duke beat Kentucky handily first game of the season, but I'll put emphasis on this. It was the first game of the season. Number 2, it was a neutral site game, so it's not like Kentucky was at Rupp and got tossed like this. But even if it was at home, if we would have played the same way, we may not have gotten beat by 30, but we would have got beat by probably at least 18 or 20.
Well,
if it was at Rupp. But I mean, okay. Now I say this though, in a few more weeks, if they would play each other again, I don't know if it's the same outcome.
I just say, no, it's not going to be the same outcome. I mean, surely a team is not going to get beat by 30 plus twice by the same team. I mean, it's not going to happen. Let's say, of course, the polls came out. Duke, of course, after that is number 1.
I told you they were going to jump Kansas.
Looking at the way they played, which really it's not much of a surprise.
Yeah. Now, right after that game, though, they played Kentucky. Then the next game they played was against Army. Now, they ended up beating Army by like 20 points, 20-something points.
It was 22.
22. But they beat Army by 22. Do you know at halftime, they were only up 8 points against Army at halftime?
Well, I mean,
And that was at Duke.
Yes, I'd say, but that happens though.
I know it happens, but that lets me know now they're not invincible.
Well, I mean,
they're not invincible.
Well, nobody's invincible, regardless of what. If you got number 1 to 25 next to your name.
Well, I know some of you people on here that'll listen to us will say, "What about Wisconsin?" But our 38-1 team, and I don't care about Wisconsin at Final Four, that we were invincible for that whole season until that one game.
Well,
so.
I mean, at some points, yes, yes, they looked invincible, but
there was strength in numbers, though. We had so many players.
Okay, this stage, this day and age, in athletics, regardless whether it's college or pros, I'm sure your team might look invincible during the regular season, but of course in the postseason, that's a whole nother time. Anybody can get beat at any time.
Anytime, it's true.
At any time, I said, and the college hoop season, it's just 2 weeks. We're just 2 weeks in. It's no major surprises. And it was, maybe a few here and there, but honestly, they got a long way to go. So enjoy it. All right, now we move on to the NFL. This is week 11. Mm-hmm. Week 11 kicked off Thursday night with Green Bay and Seattle. The Seahawks ended up winning 27-24.
Close game.
Yeah, so it's a pretty close game. It got a lot of entertaining matchups. Sunday, and of course, the prime time at Sunday night, of course, that's Chicago, Minnesota. Of course, the big one, the big game of the week, of course, the Monday night game in L.A. It was going to be in Mexico City, but they moved it to L.A. It's the L.A. Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams 9-1. Both teams got explosive offenses. So it should be very entertaining to watch.
And what's ridiculous about the whole situation is, though, it was supposed to be in Mexico City. Obviously, it's not. And so now I know it was already written in the bylaws of this contract agreement to play in these other places such as London or Mexico City, that if they can't go there for whatever reason, they designate a home team before that. So obviously the Rams were designated the home team, so they have to now, basically what was going to be a neutral field game has now turned into a home game for the Rams. That's advantage Rams now. That is advantage Rams. Because I just think it's it's a different environment. You got to go in their stadium.
They probably couldn't book
couldn't get a separate venue.
They couldn't get a separate venue. In such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Azteca Stadium, that's where the game was supposed to be played. The field wasn't safe.
Right.
And I believe they pretty much played all their games in London for this year, so and you couldn't scramble to find the last minute venue.
No, I guess you couldn't, but it just what I'm basically saying is it does give an extra advantage to the Rams for playing at home. They'll make sure there's a so-called proper amount of tickets that go for the Chiefs fans, but you got to get that Chiefs fan to travel now all the way to LA, and the Chiefs fan do travel good. But some of those people already bought traveling packages to Mexico City. Some of them already, and some of that can be refunded. But you know how sometimes refunds can take a while to get back to you. So we might have an issue where the fans are not able to get all the way there to Los Angeles. So this is an advantage Rams.
Well, I just the Rams play in LA Memorial Coliseum. Where the game is moved to.
Yep.
Well, they could have probably scrambled and moved this to the Rose Bowl, possibly. But in any instance, it should be a very entertaining game Monday night.
Very entertaining. And Patrick Mahomes is sitting at, I think, 31 touchdowns.
Yes, he's sitting at 31 touchdowns through 10 games.
And the season single record for touchdowns is 55. Held by Peyton Manning. And did you hear about what Heinz Ketchup is willing to do for Patrick Mahomes? Because Patrick Mahomes made a reference that he really enjoys ketchup. Now, he did not have a preference. He didn't say which brand. He said he likes Heinz. He likes all of them. But apparently, Heinz Ketchup said if he can break the single season record and get to 57 touchdowns, Heinz 57, get it? Heinz 57 Ketchup. Then they will give him a lifetime supply Ketchup for life. Ketchup for life for free. This is not a joke. It was on his Twitter. He even said that he likes to put ketchup on his mac and cheese, ketchup on his steak. He said some people finds the mac and cheese thing disgusting, but hey, you know.
Well,
what do you think about that? Can he can do it. He can break it. He needs 50 to break the record. He needs 56.
Yeah,
to get the Hines contract, he needs 57. So let's just say he needs to get 56 because we just care about breaking the record. So
okay, let's say that's
31 minus 56.
I just say so he needs 25 touchdowns through these final 6 games, which at the rate he's been going is doable.
Right.
I say it is doable. I say honestly, but anything can happen. We don't know. We don't know what.
He basically would need about 4.2, 4.3 touchdowns per game. So what you would have to say is basically one of his games he's going to need to hit 5 or 6 touchdowns. If he can hit 5 or 6 in one of the last remaining games, which that might be Monday night as much as the Rams and Chiefs may score against each other, he might throw for 5 or 6. If he does that, then he definitely has a shot because then we cut it down to where he only needs 2 touchdowns a game or so.
Yeah, I just say, yeah.
How good is he, though? I mean, this is a rookie guy. He did start getting some interceptions in the middle, but you expect that to happen. Everybody's throwing interceptions this year anyways. It's not a big thing. His touchdown-interception ratio is still perfect. I mean, he's good. Do you know what they call about that sophomore slump? The second year of an NFL player after his rookie year. Sometimes they have really good seasons. Second year, they digress. I don't think it's going to happen with him. Well, I think he is what he is.
Well, it can happen to anybody. Honestly,
it could.
Honestly, it could. Honestly, we probably just have to, wait and see what happens. He's got a big future ahead of him.
And the truth is, we've been waiting for a new coming of Drew Breeses and Peyton Mannings and Brett Favre's and Joe Montana's, and no one's really. I mean, if you didn't have him, we would be relying on Eli Manning didn't pan out. Joe Flacco's not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Who else are we? Big Ben. These guys are terrible. Well, they're not terrible, but they're not Patrick Mahomes right now.
Well, a lot of those guys, and I said, RC. I said, a lot of these guys are, seasoned. Well.
Seasoned.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll call them. Seasoned quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks. Sure, they may not be able to put up the numbers or yards that they used to, when they're younger. But every once in a while, they'll throw out those 400 or 500 yard, 4 or 5 touchdown games. Big Ben's done it. Breeze has done it. Mm-hmm. Brady's done it, and could probably still do it before this year is up. At some point. Did
you see who was it? SI Sports or somebody said. It was Yahoo Sports. Someone put out the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and Patrick Mahomes was voted number 1 over Tom Brady. I don't think it's too early to say that. This has been 11 games, and you go back to his first game of his NFL career last year when he played in the last week before the playoffs started for the Chiefs. So if you really think about it, this guy's played in 12 games then, and he's only lost 1 dang game. He has way more touchdowns than he does have interceptions. He has way more yards than he does negative plays. So, he's not a fluke. That's what we're getting to.
I said, yeah, he's proven he's not a fluke. I just say, but there's a lot of football, left to be played.
Yeah, let's see what he does. What if he wins the championship this year?
Goodness.
What if he did?
I just see, that's great. That's great for him. Let's say that's great. It could be a start of a, blossom, of a possible, legendary career.
Could be one and done too, though, right? Could be one championship and we never see it again. But I doubt that. One thing we need to look up for next time we do the show. How many times a rookie quarterback has won the Super Bowl with his team in his first year as the starting rookie quarterback? Because we know he's played 1 season, so he's not necessarily a rookie, but first-year starter. How many guys have won first-year starting jobs, took a team, only lost 1 or 2 games and won a Super Bowl? We need to look at that statistic.
We're probably not losing 1 or 2 games, but...
Just any of them win.
Just get them to the Super Bowl.
Right. We need to look at it.
And win.
We'll look that up next time.
Okay, I say, speaking of that, let's say, it's halfway through the season. There's probably a lot of, teams, thinking playoffs. Okay, AFC division leaders, of course. East, of course, you got New England. The North, you got Pittsburgh. The South, you got Houston, Kansas City in the West. Go to the NFC, surprisingly, Washington in the East, Chicago in the North, New Orleans in the South, and the Rams out West. Probably a few, let's see, AFC, a few teams that I think could...
Chargers, they could be an AFC wild card team.
Honestly, the Chargers have been one of the big surprises because, for a small moment, I almost forgot Phillip Rivers was even still playing.
The Bengals, they could be a wild card.
Yes.
Pittsburgh, did we say Pittsburgh? Are they leading?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's leading.
So then the Ravens. The Ravens could be there as a wild card.
Baltimore probably could.
I mean, they'd have to win some, make sure they win their fair share down the road and maybe hope for some things. But they're still in the window.
Yeah, well, even though they're 4-5, but I guess
we've seen stranger things happen, right?
Yeah, Baltimore, I guess, could make it.
Real slim, but possible.
Yeah, probably straight. I guess same would go for Tennessee.
Same would go for the Colts actually, because that whole division.
Well, yeah,
they're still within games of each other. It's not that much.
They're about a game. I said with the Titans, they've surprised me. I said they went to Dallas and won on Monday Night Football, and this past Sunday they smacked New England. I'm like, wow, nice work, Titans.
And the Colts have been playing. Eric Ebron's been really good. Ty is just now coming back healthy. They got their running back Mac back.
Yeah,
I think the Colts is a team that out of nowhere, if Houston stumbles a little bit. Could somehow win that.
Yeah, I said Indy could.
Because honestly, if Indy was healthy, I would go by who has the best quarterback, and I think Andrew Luck is better than Deshaun Watson. So I'm just going to go with the Colts.
Luck's been on the tear. I think it's 6 games in a row he's thrown 3 or more touchdown passes.
He's doing it,
so,
finally.
And
they've kept him upright. They have not let him get hit.
Yes. So thankfully for Luck.
Right.
Okay, the NFC. Well, let's see. With Carolina. They've been Carolina's been a bit of a surprise this year, and I see they're doing well. I guess you could say Minnesota, which Carolina and Minnesota, they're still in the wild card.
Yep.
I guess. Well, you know what? I'm gonna throw in Seattle.
Seattle, because that was a big win for them. It was going to be a big win for them or Green Bay. Whoever won that game was really going to start looking more like, hey, we can still do this. Whoever lost that game said, well, we're almost out of it. It's going to be really hard now. So
well, I don't know. It's probably a long shot. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I know Philly's the defending champs, but I know Philly to me has been kind of hard to
figure him out
this year. Somehow.
Zach Ertz has played really well, obviously. The tight end for Philly, he's been really good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really can't think of too many other bright spots.
Well, I mean, honestly, to me, they've kind of gone back and forth. One week it's Wentz might do well, and the other week it's Foles. I'm like, well, I mean, not for sure.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just said, okay. I said, we're probably going to see the NBA season. I just say it's underway. I say it's a month underway. They'll probably, know a couple of surprises. Probably not so surprising. Of course, Golden State. I just see still doing well. I think they're 12-2 or 12-3, something like that.
3. I think they lost the other night when Draymond finally came back after his.
Yeah, I said they got blown out in Houston the other night.
That's going to happen. It won't happen when DeMarcus Cousins is healthy.
I just said no problem. I just say whenever Curry comes back into the fold, because he's been hurt for a few.
Has he?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Rockets, probably in a surprising move to some, they decided to part ways with Carmelo Anthony. Which I'm like this, why in the world did you decide to bring him in?
Yeah, if you this soon, if you're willing to give up on him this fast, then it must mean at first you even thought it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So then why bring him in?
Well,
doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, it really didn't. I mean, because I know the Rockets, were struggling. I see, at first, you might win. I guess, I don't know. Maybe they decided to let him go. I mean, I don't know whether or not because, I just, he was willing or not willing to come off the bench or what. I'm not for sure.
Where do you think he goes now? I don't know if there's even been any rumors of where he might be able to go.
You know what? I haven't heard anything.
Well, if he wants to start so bad, I mean, Detroit's playing halfway decent, but if Detroit could pick him up somehow and put him over there with Blake Griffin, I mean, I know Carmelo's older, but it still would help Detroit out. Put Carmelo over there with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Drummond, Jackson up there near the guard area, so you would have pretty good. You start to really have probably pretty good squad. Detroit's looking in the middle of the pack right now in that East. So.
Yeah, I didn't know. Say they're looking. They're looking okay. That's probably the long-standing saga, of Jimmy Butler, who'd been traded from Minnesota. They got his wish. They traded him to Philly. And, then, as you know, Philly's, kind of in the thick of things in the East. I believe they're in 5th place right now. I see. Well, to Minnesota, it's not phasing them. They've been 3-0 since they traded Jimmy, so.
Yeah, so they're playing with better without him.
I just say, yeah.
Didn't Jimmy win a game for the Sixers, though, as soon as he got over there? It was like a game winner layup or something?
I think they won. I think they've won a few. I mean, I
know his first bucket with Philly was a layup. And I think he won. There was some overtime game, too. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I remember for sure his first bucket as a 76er was a layup. So, as if we need to really know that. But
well,
it stuck in my head, so I had to say it. That's what they said on his first bucket is a layup. Well, what were you expecting? A 360 windmill? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, hell, a shot is a shot as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, a bucket's a bucket.
Honestly, that doesn't even matter.
Yep. Well, that's the NBA season. We got a long way to go on that, don't we?
Yes.
A pretty good amount of time. Well, so today is Saturday. What is today's date?
No, it's November 17th.
November 17th. So if we should be back. Now, next week is Thanksgiving. It's a tricky week. It's a tricky week because I know you go out of town.
I just say, but this time I won't.
So you're not going out of town. So there is a possibility the next Saturday, next Friday, next Sunday, something like that, we could do another podcast/video show.
Yeah.
So we might put this, we might try to get our SoundCloud up and going again, and we might put this on SoundCloud, and then again we may not. We may just leave it on here and have this audio clip along with some still pictures and put it on YouTube. Because we already got a pretty good amount of base on the LocalJohn1812 channel. I'd say out of our 235 subscribers on there, we started with 0. We started with 0.
I just need them. I said the majority of the subscribers are his. I said I don't have a YouTube channel, so.
But a lot of people asked me. A couple of people asked me yesterday in another video I did. When are you going to do the sports show again? So some of my subscribers are actually your subscribers too, because they watch. So when we upload this, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I guess.
I told you, a while back we were treating this channel as a variety channel, and we kind of got away from it. I think we're going to go back to treating it as a variety channel. John G was working on a video game upload, and so we're just going to upload the sports talk and a video game and food reviews. So it's almost like you watching a television network. You could have news on about sports, and then you could be watching someone do a food review. So it's a good thing. So.
Okay.
But yeah. That's all I got right now until next weekend.
Yeah, I think that's all I got too.
Let's see where we're at. Because we always want to make sure we don't go too long. 30 minutes. It's about half an hour. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So thank you guys for listening and watching. And we may go back to a video one day, but right now this is what we're going to do. So don't forget to like,
subscribe,
comment,
share,
And we'll come back to give you a lot more sports information hopefully next weekend. We'll see you guys later.
All right, take care.